respected personalities, and distinguished judges here. Good afternoon, everyone. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world, said by Nelson Mandela. Dears, we are living in this modern century, 21st century, the century of artificial intelligence, AI, the century of robotics, and the century of information technology. Here, I am assured that the future of education is the most indispensable factor to mold our generation and mold our futurist society. First of all, I would like to drag your attention to say that education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. We know that in our society there are lots of factors running in our everyday life. I mean, artificial intelligence is growing, robotics is growing, but here, what an education can do. But my focus is here the future of education. As we know, the importance of education is very obvious. But what is the future of education? Here in this present circumstances, we can see that education is all over the world. As our the first education minister, Maulana Abul Kalam Azad, also said that education is the birthright of a citizen. Therefore, we can understand that education is like water, like food, like anything that basic ingredients. But how we can use this education to change the world? It is very obvious, it is very simple, but it is very sufficient and simple but significant. How? As we know that every revolution, every progress that happened in our history is through education. If you educate a society, then you can change the world. But if you are just making a society with every artificial intelligence or with every solutions, with everything, with every possibilities, but didn't give them the education, then it will not succeed. For an example, we can see that in the colonial period, ruling their people like a slavery, and also like they are just to gain knowledge. Why? Because the people when to gain the knowledge, then they will understand their right, their duties, and also their rights to gain that rights. So what I am saying is that we want to use the education for the betterment of society. How? We can see that in our current situation, for example, in India, we can see that education is a rooting. I mean, in the olden days, we can say root learning. Root learning means just by hearting something. But we want to rethink that this education system that brought into our India by the British. As we know, the British invasion happened. They introduced this education system in order to make so many clerks, so many accountants, so many accounts. I mean, accountants, clerks, in order to help them. But now we are just change our attitude, and also we are in our new educational policy. Also, we are just changing our education. So, in order to, I want to tell you some important points that in order to make our education very productive, I want to suggest a major important point is, first of all, the creativity. We want to teach students by their creativity. As we know, in these developing countries, there are lots of eminent personalities like footballers, there are so many eminent politicians, but they are matured. They are trained in the childhood by their aptitude test. Like, for example, a player of Messi, we can see that they train from the childhood, from this early period by their own caliber, their own interest as football. So like that, in our India, the world largest democratic country, the largest populated country, which we know that. So we can use this human power, the human resource, to make our India, make our world a better society and better world by giving creativity. Next is the practical learning by doing. Not only just teach, but you have to do something by practical thing. I mean, yeah. So for the first one, the second point, I am saying that learning by doing. We want to use this education to create some environment to do something by learning by doing. So creativity, the practical things, and also the intelligibility and adaptability and flexibility, everything we want to approach, we want to implement in our education system. Then we can use this education, even though we are living in this artificial intelligence world, we can use this artificial intelligence and we can use these all things to improve our education system, to empower our progress, our society. So the education can empower the society, empower the woman, empower everyone to mold the better society. So we can pray and we can do something very good society by just comprehending and also contributing something for education. Thank you all.